The Indiana Fever continue to make massive moves in free agency, signing Sophie Cunningham and DeWanna Bonner. And you guys, I don't even think they're done yet. What's up, you guys? I'm Rachel DeMita, and welcome to the Courtside Club. It is a Sunday today, and I never film Courtside Club on Sunday. Sunday is normally the day that I take the day off, relax, work out, clean my house, all the things, but no. There is so much going on in the basketball world, and I just had to make this video. I woke up to some crazy news this morning, some more free agency news in the Indiana Fever world, that they had signed DeWanna Bonner. And since I uploaded the video on Friday where we talked about them signing Natasha Howard, they also signed Sophie Cunningham. So you guys, today we are going over all of that. There is so much to talk about. I apologize in advance if this video is kind of all over the place, but my brain feels like it's all over the place. This is such an exciting time, so let's jump into it. So firstly, you guys, Sophie Cunningham was traded to the Indiana Fever for Nalyssa Smith and a pick. The Indiana Fever also acquired forward Caitlyn Brown, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I am not familiar with her game. She is going to be only a second-year WNBA player, so we will have to see how her game translates to the Indiana Fever. But Sophie Cunningham was such a huge signing from the Indiana Fever. And if you guys aren't familiar with Sophie Cunningham's game, the Indiana Fever did a great favor for us, and they posted some highlights so we can get to know Sophie a little bit better. I'm going to live react to some of it right here so you guys can see the type of player that the Indiana Fever just picked up.
In Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever are trading for a multi-dimensional wing, capable of knocking down the three ball.
Cunningham is starting to cook. Cunningham three is good.
Cunningham from the corner.
Locking down defenders.
Several deflections, and this time she gets the steal and the N1 opportunity.
And injecting passion and emotion into the game and into her team. On offense, Cunningham is a floor spacer and a deep shot maker.
Those
Each
are
of her
long
last
threes,
three
you guys.
seasons, she's finished top 20 in the WNBA
And she is not
in
afraid
threes
to take
made
them.
per minute on the floor among qualified players. And she will join a backcourt that features two of the top 5 three-point shot makers from a year ago, Caitlyn Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Over Cunningham's last 4 seasons, she shot an impressive 38% from the three-point line. And among players to hit at least 200 threes over that time, only 4 players in the entire league have shot it better from distance, one of those being Kelsey Mitchell. And Cunningham's ability to space the floor should give the Fever All-Star backcourt even more room to create on the drive than they had a year ago.
I'm going to stop it right there. They go on to talk about Sophie Cunningham's defense. So Sophie honestly has a similar game to Lexi Hall. She is a tall guard who can shoot the three. She is nasty on defense. What I love about her is she brings this kind of spark and energy to the court. She is very feisty. She is not scared to go after it. And she, I feel like, will also act as an enforcer on this team. But Sophie is someone also, if you guys remember back at WNBA All-Star, there was this clip that was going viral where Sophie grabbed Caitlyn and was like, hey, do you want to come to Phoenix? And she has been very vocal in the media that she loves Caitlyn Clark's game and she would love to play with her at some point. And so I just feel like she is going to be a great fit for this team. And like this little voiceover said, she is going to be able to add more space to the court. And that is something with Natasha Howard, you have a threat in her scoring the basketball and her bag is pretty deep. And then obviously you have that veteran leadership. Obviously, we know that Kelsey Mitchell can score the ball. Aaliyah Boston is expanding her game and she's a threat inside. You have Caitlyn Clark, but now you get someone like Sophie who is also going to just create so much more space on the floor. Teams are not going to be able to face guard Caitlyn like they were, picking her up full court, double teaming her, all of these things, because there are now more threats on the court, including Sophie. But honestly, the biggest part about her game that I think is just going to translate so well to the Fever. I just love the energy that she brings. She seems like a hard worker. She seems like she loves the game of basketball. And I think when the Fever are thinking about players that they want to surround Caitlyn with and players that they want to build this dynasty with, which I believe that they're trying to do, they have to think about the mindsets of these players also. And so I think we know she can shoot, she can defend, she's athletic, she's tall, but she also brings this just grit and energy that this team is really going to thrive off of. So with that, I thought that that was huge news, and I was feeling really good about where the Fever stood there. I put Sophie or Lexi, depending, into that starting lineup with Natasha Howard being at the 4. As we talked about, Nalyssa Smith is now gone. She is in Dallas. But then we wake up this morning and we get some breaking news, but I also didn't think it was that crazy because I kind of called it on Friday. If you guys remember in the video, I said, I think Stephanie White might bring one more player from Connecticut to the Fever. It seems like she is playing it safe in terms of getting players that she is already somewhat familiar with, and DeWanna Bonner is one of them. So Alexa Filippo, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name properly, she is the one who's been breaking all this news. She tweeted, 6-time All-Star and WNBA champ DeWanna Bonner is signing with the Indiana Fever by re-signing Kelsey Mitchell, trading for Sophie Cunningham, and signing experienced vets Bonner and Natasha Howard. The Fever have catapulted into the title conversation, and I couldn't agree with her more. Now, DeWanna Bonner is also a veteran in this league, and she can do it all. She can also shoot the 3. She is also nasty on defense, which, if you guys remember last season, defense is something that a lot of people criticized the Indiana Fever for. That was something that they definitely needed to work on. Now you have Lexi, now you have Sophie, now you have DeWanna Bonner, now you also have Natasha Howard. Like, all of these women can defend. She is somebody who is coming in, once again, like when I talked about Natasha Howard, she's a veteran, she knows how to win, she seems like she has a great attitude. I'm a huge fan of hers. She is tall, she will be able to stretch the floor, she will be able to play the 2 through the 4 when the Fever needs them, and she also likes to run the court, because that is something that we've been talking about, and the Fever have made it very clear that they want to run the ball this season. They want to play fast. They played fast last season, and that was something that was such an advantage for them. They're going to do it this season as well, and by picking up Sophie, by picking up DeWanna Bonner, it might feel like I'm overreacting, but I don't think some people understand how big these signs are. Like, these are some of the best free agents that were available during this offseason, and also just available for the Fever, like pieces for the Fever. They're not just going out and trying to sign the very best player that they can find. They're finding pieces, and there's a difference when you go into free agency and you're looking at it through the lens on putting together a team that's cohesive, putting together a team that makes sense, putting together a team that's not going to have drama in the locker room, that's going to have chemistry on the court. That's what they're doing. And I honestly thought the Fever were already in title contention when they signed Natasha Howard and they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, because we have seen with Caitlyn Clark, one of the best attributes of her game is that she elevates the players around her. She makes those players better. If you look back at her days at Iowa, look at that team surrounding her. Those were not top recruits in the NCAA. Caitlyn Clark elevated the entire Iowa program to the point that they actually beat USC today during her jersey retirement. I'm going to make an entire video about that tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But she elevated the players around her, and because of her presence on the court, because of the way the defense has to play Caitlyn Clark, it just makes everybody else able to settle into their game a little bit more. So it's going to be so interesting to see what actually happens when Caitlyn Clark is surrounded by veteran players who have been in the league, who have the experience under their belt, who know how to win. And another thing I thought was actually really funny is DeWanna Bonner is also an enforcer. She doesn't back down to anyone. And so I can just imagine the amount of technical fouls that the Fever might get this season, but I think it's going to be fun. You have Natasha Howard, you have DeWanna Bonner, and now you have Sophie, and Aaliyah Boston also is not afraid to be that enforcer. So, and then Caitlyn is always talking back to the refs. It's going to be fun, you guys. It's going to be spicy and it's going to be fun. And somebody else who is very very excited about all these free agency moves is Caitlyn Clark herself. So she just had her jersey retired today, and she did a little media beforehand, and obviously the media asked her how she was feeling about all of these signings and trades, and here is what she had to say.
I'm excited. Obviously, you know, we made some great moves. I think, you know, Kelly and Amber and the whole, you know, Fever organization are, you know, they're helping us win now, and I think that's really important. I think they're putting really good pieces together that are gonna, you know, complement each other really, really well. And then obviously Steph taking over as head coach for us, I think is going to be really great, a great basketball mind, somebody that had actually called quite a few of my college games. So being able to build that relationship with her and just be in the gym and work on things that she probably saw when I was a freshman in college and was like, oh, that girl still can't make a left-handed layup. We're still working on that. But no, it's just exciting times, and I think you look around the WNBA, and that goes for, you know, all 13 teams now, and you know, there's real trade and there's real activity and there's fun free agency to follow, and that's what's making people so excited about it. That's going to attract more people to our league, is you get to follow these storylines. So it's really exciting, and I'm, you know, looking forward to next year.
And Caitlyn is so right when she says the Indiana Fever are trying to win now. It is so clear with these moves that they are making. It might seem, I'm going to say it again, it might seem like I'm going a little over the top here, but I honestly think, you guys, these are really big moves. They're really, really, really big moves. Something else that I thought was really interesting is Coach Stephanie White was actually in Iowa for Caitlyn Clark's jersey retirement. And obviously she's just there to support Caitlyn, be there for her. But Lucy Olsen had a crazy game. They went on to beat USC. I'll talk about it more tomorrow. And it had me thinking, the Indiana Fever have the 19th pick in the WNBA draft. They traded away their 8th pick. Is there a world that Lucy Olsen is who they pick up? Is there a world that Stephanie White watches this game and says, I might be able to make this work? But I started thinking about that. And the reason I started thinking about that is because the Fever also recently cut Grace Berger. And Grace Berger was slotted in as Caitlyn Clark's backup point guard. And there has been a lot of rumblings that Erica Wheeler will not be re-signing with the Indiana Fever. That's what seems to be happening, and she was the other backup point guard. So I just wonder, are they thinking that far ahead? Is part of Stephanie White's trip to Iowa to support Caitlyn also to scout a little bit? It's just something to think about, because I do think with them waiving Grace Berger, they don't have too much space left to get some sort of superstar, but I don't think that the Indiana Fever are done. But you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about these new pickups. Do you think the Fever are truly in contention, or am I crazy? And thank you guys so much for tuning in on a Sunday. Thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, and click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I'll see you next time. Oyena.